what I'm about to show you will forever change how you see the Pope. I mean, from the claims of homosexual practices and professing that atheists will go to heaven to his views on the New World Order. That sounds absurd. But why did the Pope go against the Holy Bible instead of promoting it? Is this really the New World Order? Grab your seat and hold your device close as we unravel what these statements mean for the future of faith and the world as we know it. The unprecedented rise to papacy. Pope Francis, Archbishop Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Argentina, was chosen on March 13, 2013, marking a monumental shift for the Catholic Church. He became the first Jesuit pope in person born in the Americas. Therefore, this momentous occasion opened a new chapter in history. Not only was his ascent to the Pope a straightforward ascension, but it also represented a break from traditional norms. Pope Francis was admitted into the Society of Jesus in 1958 after being born in Buenos Aires in 1936 to Italian immigrants. After completing his humanities coursework in Chile, he returned to Argentina in 1963 to earn a philosophy degree from Colegio de San Jose in San Miguel. Following his ordination in 1969, Pope Francis pursued additional training at the University of Alcalá de Henares in Spain from 1970 to 1971. However, he was a rector of the Colegio Maximo of the College of Philosophy and Theology, a novice master at Villa Barilari San Miguel, a professor at the San Miguel Faculty of Theology, a consultant to the province of the Society of Jesus, and also a consultant to the province. Beginning in 1973, he served as Argentina's Jesuit province's provincial for 6 years. After that, he returned to working for universities, serving as parish priest in San Miguel and rector of Colegio de San Jose from 1980 until 1986. He was chosen archbishop in 1998. 3 years later, in February 2001, he was named a cardinal by Pope John Paul II. Pope Francis requested the faithful to donate to the impoverished the money they would have spent on their travel expenses instead of celebrating the appointment by traveling to Rome. Also, people of other faiths, even those not religious, have come to admire the Pope for his humility, sensitivity, and readiness to take on global issues. So what went wrong? Why are there different views of his biblical interpretation? Controversies. Concerning Pope Francis's reading of the Bible, intense discussions and disputes within the Catholic Church have been sparked by the Pope's distinctive approach to the text. Meanwhile, the Pope has presented a novel viewpoint that stresses the significance of contextual interpretation and the human element of Scripture, breaking from the conventional Catholic doctrine. Pope Francis's claim that the Bible shouldn't be interpreted as a literal narrative or a chronicle of historical events is one of the leading causes of controversy. He said that reading the Bible shouldn't be handled in the same way as reading a newspaper in an interview published in 2016 by the Italian daily La Stampa. He made this comparison between the Bible and a newspaper. Rather than regarding the creation stories presented in Genesis as factual historical accounts, the Pope invites believers to view them as theological expressions and metaphors that offer important spiritual lessons about God and humanity. However, in a 2017 sermon, he discussed the account of Jesus multiplying the loaves and fishes and speculated that it might have been a metaphor rather than a true miracle. This method emphasizes reading Scripture in a way that is relevant to modern believers, giving interpretation and application precedence over strict adherence to a literalist viewpoint. Meanwhile, there have been heated discussions over these interpretations inside the Catholic Church. Biblical literalists and conservative Catholics say that Francis is questioning the Church's established doctrines and eroding the authority of the Bible. They charged him with sacrificing Orthodox doctrine to appease contemporary secular sensitivities. They also discussed the necessity of taking the Bible literally to maintain the authenticity and integrity of the faith. Nevertheless, a prominent conservative critic of Pope Francis, Cardinal Raymond Burke, voiced reservations about the Pope's interpretation of Scripture, expressing concern that it would lead believers astray. He maintained that the Bible's literal truth should be the Church's top priority, particularly regarding moral and religious issues. Now, what if I told you that the Pope said homosexuality isn't a sin as a believer? Pope's claims on homosexuality practices. In a letter response to a request for clarification regarding his comments made during a recent interview with the Associated Press, Pope Francis reiterated that homosexuality is not a crime and that any sexual act performed outside of marriage is a sin. The Pope classified laws that criminalize homosexuality or homosexual activity as unjust, and he urged church members, particularly bishops, to exhibit tenderness, as God does with each of his children. The Pope had stated in an interview that being homosexual is not a crime. Pope Francis reiterated in 2013 the teaching of the Roman Catholic Church that homosexual behavior is sinful, but homosexual orientation is not. Homosexual acts or homosexual orientation, what actually is the difference? To provide same-sex couples with legal protections, he has backed same-sex civil unions, even though he has reaffirmed the traditional Catholic teaching that marriage is between a man and a woman. In the publication, Fiducia Supplicans, the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith has confirmed throughout his papacy that transgender persons are eligible for baptism and the blessing of same-sex couples. Francis has met numerous LGBT individuals and campaigners in private. Additionally, Francis received the 2013 Person of the Year award from the American LGBT magazine, The Advocate. Nevertheless, it is shocking to know that Francis has been less accommodating towards transgender subjects than he has been towards LGBT subjects, characterizing gender theory and educating kids about gender-affirming surgery as ideological colonization. Francis faced criticism from the media in September 2015 after he got to know Kim Davis, a jailed county clerk who had refused to grant marriage licenses to same-sex partners. Francis came under fire in August 2018 for recommending that LGBT kids get mental health care. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, spearheaded public opposition to the parliamentary measure that legalized same-sex marriage in Argentina before his Pope Francis election. The Argentine Senate adopted the bill on July 15, 2010. However, a letter he penned during that campaign was condemned for using obscurantist and medieval terminology. An Episcopal source later acknowledged that the letter was a strategic miscalculation that helped the bill pass. In an interview with the Associated Press in January 2023, Pope Francis referred to the criminalization of homosexuality as unjust. He urged the Catholic Church to distinguish between a sin and crime, to fight for its abolition. He also urged bishops who back these laws to go through a conversion process. Francis referred to laws that criminalize homosexuality as a sin in a press conference held in mid-air in February 2023, saying, "This is not right. Individuals who identify as homosexuals are divine offspring. God cherishes them. God goes with them. It is wrong to condemn someone this way. Furthermore, it is unfair to criminalize those who have gay inclinations." In response to a letter from Jesuit priest James Martin seeking an explanation, Francis stated that, although criminalization is neither good nor just, every sexual act outside of marriage is a sin, and that, "I would tell whoever wants to criminalize homosexuality that they are wrong." Amidst these disputes, Pope Francis has officially authorized priests to bless same-sex couples. A recent document explains this drastic shift in Vatican policy, stating that those who seek God's love and mercy shouldn't have to undergo an exhaustive moral analysis to be accepted. The paper, made public by the Vatican's Theology Office, expands on a letter Pope Francis wrote to conservative cardinals and was published in October. In that initial reply, Francis said that if they did not mistake the ceremony for the sacrament of marriage, then in some instances such blessings might be given. The updated declaration expands on this reasoning by reiterating that marriage is a lifetime sacrament between a man and a woman. Furthermore, it emphasizes that blessings should not be given concurrently with a civil union, through predetermined ceremonies, or even with attire and gestures appropriate for a wedding. However, it unequivocally states that such blessing requests should not be ignored. It insists that anyone pursuing a transcendent relationship with God and seeking His compassion and mercy should not be subjected to an exhaustive moral analysis as a prerequisite for obtaining it, offering a comprehensive definition of the term blessing in Scripture. Who are the atheists? And do you think they can be redeemed? Can you really go to heaven if you don't believe in God? The atheists. He was giving a sermon in the chapel of the Domus Santa Marta residence, located on Vatican premises and where the Pope has chosen to reside. Every morning, save Sunday, he celebrates Mass and gives a sermon for the Vatican staff and other guests staying at the residence. In an attempt to temper the media excitement, the Vatican spun. However, the comment was just another instance of this Pope addressing a wider audience than just the Church. According to the Pope's remarks, atheists can be precious allies in fostering intercultural harmony and the cautious preservation of the natural world. This is the manner of a parish priest who desires communication within and outside his congregation. Francis declared in May 2013 that everyone who does good, even atheists, can be redeemed through Jesus. God has redeemed all of us with the blood of Christ. Not just Catholics, declared Francis. All of you, even those who reject God. Everyone. Carl E. Olson stated amid the ensuing debate that Francis's remarks were core Christian doctrine that went back to the Apostle Paul. Father Thomas Rosica, a Vatican spokesman, said in an explanatory note that only those who sincerely seek God can attain eternal salvation, and that non-Catholics who know the Catholic Church but do not convert cannot be saved. In September 2013, Francis claimed in a letter to Eugenio Scalfari, an Italian writer, that God would pardon unbelievers if they followed their conscience. In response to a list of questions published in his publication by Scalfari, a non-Catholic, Francis wrote, "You wonder if the God of Christians forgives people who do not believe and do not seek faith. Given the essential premise that God's kindness is infinite to those who approach Him with a sincere and contrite heart, the question for the unbeliever is to heed to his or her conscience." But what do you really think about these controversies? Is it against the Holy Bible? What does the Bible say about those who don't believe in God? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to click on any of our videos displaying on your screen now for more shocking and solved cases like this. See you in our next video.